Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Infamously Speaking. This is going to be a good one. Quan's in his bag already. I mean, I couldn't even start the episode without him talking shit in pre-roll, pre-production time, so I already know he's on one. We were supposed to have an illustrious guest, Kareem Brown, on the show. Known internet Knicks hater. I thought he was from New York. I don't really understand where that's coming from. Looking forward to chopping it up. In this episode, we're going to be talking about, of course, the conference finals. Do a quick recap of both of them. Do a look ahead to the finals about what we expect to see from them, who we like in the finals, and then kind of talk about what's next for the eliminated teams, Knicks and Timberwolves. Before we jump into everything, first and foremost, some admin stuff. I want to shout out everybody for just the constant love and support you've been showing. Quan was killing it with the instant reactions while I was out. Everybody was hating every single one of his takes. It was great to see somebody else getting lit up instead of me. That was nice. That was nice. So I appreciate the love and support there. We have our Infamously Speaking merch is out. I'm wearing the brown shirt today. We got hoodies as well. I'll drop a link. It'll be in the bio. So go get your merch. Rock the brand. And lastly, please like, comment, subscribe, do all the good stuff. Support the show. And with that being said, let's jump right into it. Quan, I'm gonna give you the stage, man. I know you've been wanting to talk about this since last night. So go ahead.
So I woke up and it was just one of those glorious mornings, right? Just a Sunday, June 1st, start of the month, start of a New York Knicks.
He thought he did something there. He thought he did something.
So here's the thing, right? I told you guys that. What are you guys celebrating? I was in a room full of people last night because I was at the cigar lounge.
Right.
All Knicks fans. And I was going crazy. I don't give a fuck. I'm going crazy. I'm excited for the game. And I knew what was gonna happen. There's no way that the Knicks was gonna keep pace. When the score was 50-something to 50-something at halftime, I'm like, this is the Pacers kind of game. You talked about it. Like, they want them to score under 100. It's too fast paced of a game. They don't have the depth. They don't have the bench to be consistent enough to hold them down. And it proved. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it was a rough one. And we definitely called it out. We spoke about it before the series even started. And then, after the Knicks won, I said that Game 5 was finally the first game that the Knicks played where I felt like they really imposed the way that they wanted to play. I know game 3 they won was a lower scoring game, but even in that, the Pacers had some spurts. And then Game 1, which people were like, oh, we should have won. We played the game the Pacers wanted to play because that was a super high scoring game. So we talked about it. In these playoffs, it's all about who's able to impose their will and play the brand of basketball that they want to play. There's so much that can happen in a playoff series. You want to try to leave as little up to chance or make push as much in your favor as possible. And pace of play is exactly one thing that you could do for it. And it's crazy.
Pace of play.
It's crazy because you would think, right, the Knicks played the same Pacers team last year, and they don't play any different than how they played last year. It's get the ball out, get it out quick, make or miss, 7 seconds or less, right? I know you're a huge basketball fan, so I mean, very similar to the Mike D'Antoni Suns teams and the Rockets teams, right? Where it's like just fast, attack the basket. And just the Knicks weren't able to do that. You called this out in the beginning of the series too, which was coaching edge going to Indiana because Rick Carlisle, obviously championship coach, knows what it's like to be in these big series and win them.
And Siakam. Siakam's a champion.
So is OG though.
Oh yeah. But so, shout out to Siakam winning the MVP for the Eastern Conference Finals.
He cooked up.
He was efficient. He had KAT in a blender. He picked and chose his matchups appropriately. So, like, nothing seemed forced. It was, I was watching the game, and the Knicks would score and go back and forth. But I'm telling you, India's pushing. India's, as soon as the ball comes out of the net, it's halfway down the court already. Because
make or miss, bro.
Yeah, they're just pushing the ball. They don't give a fuck. And, it was crazy because they went on a couple different runs last night, and Knicks was able to bring it back down to 10 to 8. pretty easy in a decent amount of time. But you knew it was gonna come to that spurt, and of course it happened at the end again where they're just gassed. They're gassed.
Yep.
It was a good series. I like the banter back and forth with all my fellow Knicks fans, but I don't give a fuck. Y'all lost. Y'all trash. I looked up the tickets. Cancun is $500.
Oh, there you go.
I'll see you there. Talking all that shit. Y'all ain't win nothing. This is what I got into an argument with someone. You ain't win nothing. We beat Boston. Good for you. You beat Boston.
Yeah, that's the
Guess
problem.
what? That didn't get you a rafter. I mean, a banner and a rafter. It don't get you a ring. It might. Yeah, you're right. But that's, yo, you know what's funny? So I said this, and Ray felt a certain type of way. I think Gmo might have a little bit, but Ray was more engaged when I said this. I said, you got a loser fucking mentality. And he's like, I know he took it personal, like I was calling him a loser, but I'm not. But to me, that's a loser's mentality that you happy you finishing potentially what, fourth, third, right?
Let's even say third because they won one more game than Minnesota did.
Okay, so you finished third. Congratulations.
What does that win you? It doesn't win you nothing.
Nothing.
I'm not sure if you remember when we had Ori on the show. Shout out to our guy. Oh, well, he was like, Matt, when we beat Boston, it was right after we beat Boston. He's like, Matt, you don't really look happy. I'm like, because how are we going to celebrate like we won it all when we're only halfway there? We're only it was 8 wins. I thought we was going to take care of Indiana, to be honest with you. Like, I ain't going to flip-flop on no pick. But I didn't like the way we were celebrating. I didn't like it. And I don't mind fans celebrating because they're fans. But what I didn't like, and you and Kareem were bringing this in the chat, but I didn't think about it too much. When I first saw it, I thought about it, and I didn't think about it again until y'all brought it up, which was the street signs.
Oh, yeah,
I'm not sure if everybody remember the street signs after we beat Boston, right?
Yeah,
Jalen Brunson, Hart had one. Everybody had one. And I'm like, why? Fans could celebrate. Why is the team celebrating? Why is the team doing shit that you would do for champions after you won the semifinals? I get it. We haven't done it in 25 years. But you got to act like you've been there. You got to act the part if you want to be a champion. That's not champion activity. So didn't love that. But I mean, honestly, it's credit to the Pacers. And I know there's going to be a lot of Knicks fans that are like, you know, we should have won game 1. Oh, well, we didn't win it. I bet you we feel a lot how Boston fans felt.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to. Don't talk to me about no New York Knicks shit. Get it out your systems. Do not come my way with that shit.
It's over
Pack
at this
your
point.
Shit up. It was a light trip to Indiana. I looked that shit up too. It was $100. And yo, did you see when Haliburton he posted, or no, Ben Stiller responded to a post of him wearing the all black
with the duffel, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I'm glad you brought your duffel to pack it, come back, like to pack and come back to New York. And then he was like, nah, the pack y'all up. But it was funny that he went out Ben Stiller, man. Ben Stiller's a funny guy. I like that guy.
I fuck with it. I know a lot of people accuse Haliburton of being a front runner, but listen, when you win, you can do whatever the fuck you want. That's part of winning.
Yo, did you see that thing I sent you? Shout out to Paul George for making this finals happen.
I hate that. I hate it so much. I even posted a story. I'm like, can we stop? No disrespect to Paul George, Podcast P. But he has nothing to do with it. I get he was a part of the trades that made things happen. Why are we talking about him?
Because he sucks. He's overrated.
Why? That's what I agree. And it's not even Paul George's fault that he's overrated. It's kids saying that I want to be like Paul George that makes him overrated. That's what it is. That's what makes him closest.
Yeah, I feel you.
That's what it is. Because he's a great player. He is, but Paul George is not synonymous with winning. That's why I'm like, we're talking about winning a championship, and we got a picture of Paul George on the graphic. What are we doing? What are we doing? Why are we searching? I saw something, and somebody responded to it. I thought it was hilarious. They traced. I don't remember exactly how to say it, but they traced the Knicks signing or trading for Kurt Thomas, like 10, 15, maybe 20 years ago, up to a move this year. And I was like, well, and they're like, if we want to do this whole Paul George thing, I got something for you. Something that happened 20 years ago. It's like, yeah, credit Sam Presti, credit the Pacers front office for making moves happen and seeing diamonds in the rough and putting pieces around him and let him grow. But let's just please stop talking about Paul George.
I
My
apologize.
gosh, man.
I
No,
apologize.
I just don't get it. It's like, why? Paul George, when's the last time he played a basketball game?
I don't know.
And on top of that, when's the last time he played a meaningful basketball game? Over a year ago.
Yo, I seen her interview with him on I think it was Melo's show. And he said something like the fans noticed it was him and called him out or some shit. I forgot. I got to get more context behind it because I don't remember the whole thing. But it was funny as hell because they called him out. And Melo talked about like being in the city, being in New York. You know, the fans will keep you sharp. They'll keep you on point because they're not going to hold
they
back.
will. No, they won't.
So I wonder how they're going to... I didn't really see any responses. It was dead. I ain't get no responses in the chat. I ain't seen nothing on social media.
They went quiet.
I seen a few good seasons, Knicks tape, all this shit, whatever.
You know what's, to wrap up the Knicks conversation, at least for the moment, you know what's sad, self-inflicted, I don't even know what the right word is, about this whole playoff run, is that typically, if you were a team, just remove the name off the front of the jersey, the city, or whatever. But if you're a team and you were stuck in the second round for the past 2 years, number one, let's just look at it 4 years, right? So the fourth, you get knocked out by Trae Young at MSG. He kills you when you had Julius Randle, right? So first round exit. Then the next 2 years, you make it to the second round and battle in both second round series, but lose. Then the fourth year, this year, you beat the defending champion to go to your first Eastern Conference Finals in 25 years, and you lose in 6. If it was anywhere else but New York or LA, you're celebrating that. You're like, wow, that's incredible. They're progressing. But it's because it's the Knicks. It's because the fans are so hateable. It's because we put up street signs for winning a second round series. We can't really enjoy the progression that we've made. I saw a graphic where it's like, man, I used to watch Alec Burks and Enes Kanter pick and rolls. That's how bad we were. Sorry, not Alec Burks, Trey Burke. Alec Burks was another player that we had. And now we have Jalen, Brunson, and KAT, and we're going to the Eastern Conference Finals, but we can't enjoy it because we can't have nice things. We can't, and we do it to ourselves. We do it to ourselves.
I think I don't have any hate towards New York, although you guys may seem like think that, but
we don't think it, we know.
I just think that, I think when people are when they boast and they brag and all that shit, and that shit just smacks you back in the face.
It's terrible. Oh,
you had that coming for you. It's called
did.
Good karma.
Sure did. I want to,
KAT. I think KAT. You know what's funny? So I was watching one of my boys, and he's not a big basketball fan, but he likes making little parlay bets that his brother puts him onto and shit, so he keeps him interested in the game. And he's Dominican, so he likes KAT because he's Dominican. I'm like, he's flamboyant, right? He's like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
I was like, he's like, no, he's not. I was like, bro, you ain't seen the interviews or anything, like. And that's the cool, meme. Like whatever is him. But don't be out there doing this, shooting at people and acting tough when you're doing all this after you make a layup. Bro, you're fucking 7 foot making it look good. You should be making them shits. But you ain't doing nothing.
You seen the article? Apparently there was coaches and players that were frustrated about his defensive effort.
Yeah, I seen that.
Interesting. I mean, here's my take on that.
He was the mismatch. He was the one they would exploit.
He was the one they were hunting. Every series, that's who they wanted to hunt.
Yeah.
But here's my thought about that. When you traded for KAT, what did you expect? Did you think your defense was going to take a leap forward? I mean, you lost Hartenstein, your starting center. He went to OKC and has been awesome for them. You knew you weren't going to be able to keep him just because of money reasons. But did you think you were going to get better when you said? I mean, KAT wasn't the anchor of the Minnesota defense. It was Quan's boy Gobert. I just wanted to throw that out there. And the transition to Minnesota really quick. I think we both kind of felt like that was a tough series for Minnesota. And that for any chance for them to win, Ant would have needed to have been awesome. Julius would have needed to have been awesome. and their role players would have need to play it out of their minds. And that happened at times, but it never came together all in the same game outside of game 4, where it seemed like OKC kind of took it off a little bit. What do you think is the next? This is back-to-back conference final exits in 5 for Minnesota. What do you think is the next step for them? Is it making another move like they did this past offseason? Is it giving Rob Dillingham more time to develop and grow? I know he was a big piece in the draft they got last year that people were excited about. Curious your thoughts.
They're going to have to make a move. That roster's not built to win right now against OKC. So whatever they do, they have to, combat with OKC, in my opinion. They were outmatched. As you were saying, excuse me, and Julius Randle would have to play out their minds, and the role players would have to step up big time. I think even when they do, all that does is make it competitive. It don't give them the edge. OKC they look really, really good. They can go on a run, in my opinion. If they can keep the team,
and they can. So there's 2 things that you said that I want to kind of react to. The first one is you said they're going to have to build a team to compete with OKC. And so we have 2 recent examples of teams building their team to beat a specific opponent. We had Minnesota last year with Denver, right? They really built the team to beat Denver. Size, athleticism, good bench, and they were able to get past Denver. And then the Knicks this year, right? The big talk was they got the 2 wings, OG and McHale, to match up with JB and Tatum. The shooting big, KAT, Porzingis, right? And both times, those teams had beaten the team that they built for, but then lost in the next round. And didn't really look like they could hang too much with the team that they lost to, because you're building a team to beat a specific team, but not every team plays like that. Yeah, you could beat Boston, but you couldn't run with the Pacers.
Fair. I get what you're saying.
So I'm curious. But you said OKC can go on this run. So if you believe OKC is the team, and then if you beat OKC, then you're coming out of the West no matter what, and you like your chances. The only reason I'm hesitant to say OKC could go on this run, and I agree with you, is just they have so much talent. They're young, and they can keep them together. I feel like we felt that way about a lot of the previous champions. Like, what's stopping them from repeating? Like, what was stopping Boston this year from repeating? Brought everybody back, except for themselves.
Injuries in themselves.
And then we felt, I'm not sure how you felt about Denver, but a lot of people felt like Denver was going to repeat last year, and they didn't. And it was Milwaukee before them. We're like, wow, what's stopping Milwaukee?
No, I didn't think Milwaukee would repeat.
Obviously, Chris Middleton got hurt.
I think Denver could have. Yeah, Chris Middleton was a big part in the Milwaukee thing. I didn't really get them to go on to repeat. I think Denver definitely, because Jokic is unbelievable, and then he has that second star with Murray, and they had a shooter with Porter, and they have Aaron Gordon. So Denver could still win it, in my opinion. Denver's a competitive team. I think the Aaron Gordon injury definitely hurt. Excuse me.
For sure.
I get what you're saying, and it makes sense.
Well, and they got to win this finals. That's in front of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cut it out.
Listen, you got to play the games. So before we jump into the finals preview, I just want to quickly kind of recap what we learned from these finals. There's a couple points that stood out to me. You can let me know if you agree with them, if you wanted to edit them. Coaching flexibility, I think, reigned supreme in both conference finals. I thought Daigneault and OKC was incredible, making adjustments in game. And of course, I think Rick Carlisle outcoached Tibbs by miles in this series.
Easily. I'll give Tibbs credit that he... No. I'm serious. I'll give Tibbs credit that...
Why is that so aggressive?
He switched it up. What game did he switch it up? 3?
I think it was game 3. Yeah, put Mitch in and put Hart to the bench.
Well, he used his bench. Game 4, Robinson started, I believe. But
right.
I'll give him credit. He eventually, switched it up because he realized there's no fucking way they was gonna win the way he started. It's just they're outgassed. So yeah, I think that's a good take down for the coaching.
Another one. I think one thing that we haven't seen, because the last couple championships have had this either a big like Jokic or a forward, either Tatum, Brown, Giannis, be the dominant player on the court. this conference final was really dominated by guard play. Now, of course, Siakam won MVP, but it was a toss-up between him and Haliburton. Brunson was incredible. SGA was awesome. And Ant was the best player on the court. So are we seeing kind of a change? Are we going to see more guard dominant play leading teams to championships? Or do you think this is just kind of an anomaly?
That's a good question. No, I think it's still like up with the forwards. The crazy thing is other than Brunson, all of them can play forward. And the way that the league is set up now, too, they
size-wise, pause.
Yeah.
Golly, I'm cutting that.
I don't think so. Only because in the East next year, right, depending on when Tatum can come back and all that, they got to still be the favorites to come out the East, depending on what moves is made and all that, right? So I would still say Boston coming out the East, and then you have OKC. Obviously, they look tough. But now that I think about it, there's too many great forwards in this league. I don't even like calling them forwards because they can all play
up and down the positions,
right? You know what I mean? Like, fucking LeBron James could play point guard.
You love him.
I don't understand. I just realized you had a picture of LeBron on your back wall.
It's Jordan. It's the one that, depending on how you look at it, it changes from Jordan to LeBron. It's just how the camera's on him.
Yeah, I don't like this. Put it so I can see Jordan.
I can't.
I noticed that at the intro, and I was like, this is terrible. When did he get a LeBron poster? And the fact that you have LeBron and Jordan in the same poster.
My brother got it for me. My brother actually made it.
He made it?
Yeah. It's like a hologram.
He didn't make it.
Yeah, he did. He designed artwork.
That's crazy. He should have put me.
Fuck out of here. So the last one is, I think we saw some teams and players make the leap, and we also saw teams and players get exposed. So I'll start with the exposed piece. I think we saw Jalen Brunson get exposed. Not by a different way that he didn't play any differently than what he's been playing. But I think now that folks really were laser focused on the Knicks. I think during the Celtics, because they knew that they're on a collision course with the Celtics, it was like great Knicks season. And if they're able to get past the Celtics, forget about it. We're not going to say nothing negative about them. But now we saw two different styles of guard play, and we saw one lead to really efficient offense and easy baskets, and the other one lead to dribbling down the clock, tough shot, even though he was making them. People were like, oh, wait a second. Hold on. Now the question comes up, is Haliburton better than Brunson? People weren't saying that before this series happens. So I think that's one. I think, again, I'll let you respond.
Go.
No, I was going to move to a different player. So go.
Well, most people equate it to baskets, right? We talked about it too. Like the objective is to get the ball in the basket. But as a guard, it's also making sure your team's involved and making easy baskets for them, which Brunson could do. That's why I said he could do it. He had a few where he hit KAT down the middle of the lane, had an easy layup, because all the focus is on Brunson because he's a scorer. He's a bucket, bro. Like, he's gonna get his regardless. And that's why Kareem was saying they're not gonna win a championship with him, because it can't just be him. He's not going to score 120 points. Do you know what I mean? And then when you need your team in the clutch,
they're cold.
Yeah, they'll come up sometimes, but majority of the time they're not. And I said that too. That was the biggest argument. Like, as a shooter, you're not. If you're not in rhythm or you're not getting the ball, how many times? I don't know if you played a lot of park ball, but like, especially at the park, you'll have some kid that thinks he's fucking from and one and dribbling the ball for 10 minutes. It's annoying.
Yep.
You're cutting, you're making doing picks for the backdoor balls and all that. You know, you're running around the court for nothing. You're playing hard defense for nothing. You're not touching the ball. And then if you're a shooter, I get it. You got some shooters that are just pure, set-up shooters. But even them, you got to get a rhythm. Nobody goes to the three-point shootout and fucking doesn't warm up. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we talking about? So when your warm-ups is the only time you're touching the ball and seeing yourself shoot, because when it's game time, you're seeing your guard hold the ball for majority of the time, it's just not going to work out. And we've seen that. And I think that's a good call out with the exposure piece.
I think it's an evolution that needs to come. That's why I'm not going to get on the bandwagon to say they'll never win with Brunson. They can't win with him playing this way. But
That's
now
what
you
I
have
said.
to look at it. Yeah, somebody said it in a comment. I was reading the thread, and it was like, it's just an evolution in the game, right? You got to trust your teammates that they're going to get you the ball back if you have a good look. That's all it is.
Yeah.
If you got the hot hand, you got to just trust your teammates that you're going to get it back. The perfect example of that, the best small guard of all time, Steph Curry. We talked about it. He moves better without the ball than he does with the ball, and he's incredible when he has the ball in his hands. But he trusts that he's going to get it back. He gets open. He has the good look. He's going to get the ball back.
Brunson should know that. Like, Brunson should know he's their guy. Like, you'll get the ball back. Just get your team involved a little bit more ahead of time, and you'll be all right. I'm not criticizing Brunson where, like, I don't like him, by the way. Like, I don't want this to be taken out of context. Brunson's a dog. And I think he's a star in this game.
Superstar.
But I think he has potential to be even better. That's my point. That's my point.
I think to your point, right, he was second team All-NBA. What would it take for him to get first team All-NBA? Part of that is, I think, of the evolution of that.
Yeah, I agree. And he had a bunch of turnovers last night that I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, it was just out of rhythm. Next player who I thought got a little bit exposed in this playoffs, or in this series, or this round, and we're going to go to Minnesota, and that's Ant Edwards. I think, so it's not about how he played, because he had a comment. I sent you the post where he was like, I thought I played fine.
Yeah.
And then he was like, I'm not worried about it. I'm young. I'll be back. Love the confidence, but not so much. Like, I want more of, you don't no guarantee you're going to be back. You have no idea. You have no idea when your next thing is. We've seen crazy shit happen. Who knows? Your team, they can completely break up your team. I'm sure, like I said, Milwaukee probably thought they were going to be back. They suffer a catastrophic injury in Chris Middleton. Trades happen. Things happen.
Dame injuries.
Dame injuries.
Let me just respond to that real quick, because you sent that to me, and I told you my reaction, which is, when I watched his interview, I get what he's saying, and Ant is probably the most confident. And I said this before, like, because you remember you talked about him shooting the three, and I was like, if there's anyone in the league that doesn't lack confidence, it's Ant Edwards. He has all the confidence in the world, and that's why I think he said it the way he said it, which is, we'll be, I'll have plenty more of these, because he's that confident in himself. No matter what happens to the team, I get what you're saying. Don't get me wrong, but Ant is that confident that he knows he's gonna be back. He's gonna make it happen, regardless of who's around him, what happens. As somebody who's super competitive and is competitive driven, and loves to see that in the greats like the Tom Brady's and Michael Jordans, I would have rather him being more competitive at that moment too, other than saying, I played great, it is how it is.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I get where he's coming from, but
here was my thing too about the whole series is there were games where, like, even game one, Julius Randle was popping off, but no one else was. I'm like, man, I need you to have more shots. Even if you're missing, I need you to be more aggressive in hunting that down. And I get it. Maybe he was like, hey, I got to get my team involved early because I know I'm going to get mine. But when you're playing a team like Oklahoma City defensively, you just got to take the look when you got it. You got to take the look when you got it. And they kind of talked about it with Denver in Game 7, where they're like, man, look at Denver taking these uncharacteristic threes. But on my mind, I'm thinking, like, against a team like OKC, if you got the look, you got to take the look, because that's probably the only clean look you're going to get the entire possession, because they don't fall asleep defensively. So if you get a look, that's the look. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I was looking for from him. Like, I need him. And maybe it wasn't a confidence thing. Maybe it was like, I just got to get my team going. But when it's time like this and they don't have it, because they were missing open threes, it's like, nah, I got to score. And then at least keep us attached until they figure it out.
Kind of like what we said with Brown. Kind of like what we said.
Right.
I think it was with Brunson.
Just keep
where,
them
like, keep them
attached
afloat. Yeah, keep them afloat until they can pick
until
up.
everybody figures it out. So let's move on. Talk about who made the leap. But wow, the two teams that won made the leap. Well, you know what I found interesting? I'll talk about the Eastern Conference Finals first. What I found interesting, so I was doing mad research. I was doing mad research earlier.
I know when I knew when you was like, we're recording, what time? And I was like, this guy
I
got
was researching
so much information up his sleeve, he has to let it out. And I was
but
like,
it wasn't even. I'm not gonna even be on the. You thought I was gonna have a whole bunch of stats for you about why I think Jalen Brunson is better.
yeah,
Part of it is I'm just a homer. That's part of it.
Okay.
And Jalen has elevated this team to levels that I don't remember as a Knicks fan. So, but I agree. Overall player, Haliburton's better.
you know what disappointed me most about the Eastern Conference Finals
Is that it didn't go 7? Or
is
that the
that
Pacers
it
didn't
didn't
sweep
go
them?
7. Is that I wanted Indiana, I wanted them to beat them in the Garden in front of Sprewell, Marbury, Larry Johnson, Patrick Ewing and his old ass knees. Like, I wanted that. I wanted that energy. But,
I think it's good. I think if it went back to Indiana, it would have been, especially down 3-1, now tied 3-3. That would have been a spooky situation. Because last year, yeah, Indiana won Game 7 in the Garden, but they were down 3-2. So they tied it up going back to the Garden. I think it would have been a little bit different.
did you see the stat? I think it was since March they haven't lost a back-to-back game.
I think so. I believe that's
Indiana.
right.
Yeah.
Also, one thing, too, is I think since January 1st, Indiana has like the 3rd best record in basketball or something like that. Don't quote me, but I think that's what it is.
Are
So
we
I was
gonna
looking
talk about the finals?
Yes, I was looking.
All right.
I want to give you this thing about Indiana. So I was looking into it, and I was like, man, like who's been stepping up for Indiana? Like who's been playing above what they normally play at? And there's guys like Nimhard who's up their points per game, and Miles Turner is a little bit better. Aaron Nesmith turning into fucking Steph Curry, Reggie Miller, and every great 3-pointer.
Neiman Marcus. Like the store.
He's been ridiculous. But if you really look at the numbers, like Haliburton is hovering right now around his regular season average. Pascal had a great series, but he's also kind of hovering around there. And so it's like, wait a minute. Indiana's really playing the basketball that they're just used to playing. Like no one is going, they have their moments where they go crazy. Of course, Pascal's 2 30-point games, Tyrese's big shots and his heroics, but outside of that, they're not playing at a level that's not sustainable, if that makes sense, right? Like they're not just playing out of their minds, which
I agree.
Which is why, and we can go to the finals now. I think Indiana's gonna have to play really well to beat OKC, but I don't think we should just completely dismiss Indiana in this series because they haven't had to play. They could play really great basketball by just being exactly who they are.
I agree 100%. That's why I couldn't wait to get to this part. I think
you're gonna surprise people.
No. I got OKC winning. OKC winning, but I think Indiana could definitely pull off an upset. I can see them winning 3 games easy. OKC's defense is a lot better, right, than the Knicks.
Yeah, than anybody they
That's
played.
the thing, and they have the play where like it's a mixture of both, right? Like their lockdown defense is crazy,
ridiculous,
and that's what gets them off to their runs because they usually score a lot off of turnovers. But the Pacers, I think they'll be fine with that because that's just going to fall into the pace of the game,
right?
And they're just going to be running up and down the court. I got OKC winning. I think Indiana might get 2 games. I think they could get 3 games, but I think they'll get the 2 games.
Yeah, I'm also feeling OKC in 6.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be interesting to watch because to your point, Oklahoma City can play both ways. They could play with pace and they could slow it down. Where the Knicks, they don't really want to play with pace to your point because of the depth. They look tired at the end of games. Shots start falling short because your legs are tired. Defensive energy is not at the same level that it needs to be to keep up with an Indiana team. Where OKC, they can throw bodies at you. Yeah. And they're not just bodies, right? They're effective. They can run offense. They don't, right? SGA, they could still be effective when SGA is on the bench because they have a bona fide number 2 in J-Dub, and Chet's been playing really great. He had an awesome series against Minnesota. And it's happening at the right time.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be interesting to see. Couple questions for you. Who do you think is going to have the better series, Haliburton or SGA?
SGA. Well, it depends. What do you, a better series, how?
How about who do you think is going to play their game?
You're
who's going to be more effective in playing
I'm like
an
eye guy, huh?
No, like who, just by watching, who do you think is going to be able to play their game more the way they want to play it? Who's going to be better at doing it?
I think they'll be able to both play their games. I think that SGA will probably come out on top because they have the better team, so he's going to stand out a little bit more. But I think Haliburton gets a lot of rebounds and assists too, bro. He got good overall.
He's the playoff
game.
assist leader. He's the playoff assist leader.
Yeah, see, like, so if you're giving me 15 to 20 with 10 assists, that's fucking great. And if SGA has, let's say SGA has 30 and like 5 assists, who has the better game?
That's both a minimum of 40 points.
Yeah, they equate into the same. I think they'll both have a great series. That's what I'll leave it at that.
Who do you think gets more help from the supporting cast, Haliburton or SGA?
That's a good fucking question too, man. I think SGA, but slightly. But I don't, man. That's tough. That's a tough question because the Pacers overall team, they showed up. Topin showed up. Macaulay Culkin showed up. Nimrod showed up.
He was
Neiman
not
Marcus
home alone.
Showed up.
Neiman Marcus. I said he was not home alone.
Yeah,
he was cooking.
He was cooking. You know what's funny? He came in the game and I told my boy who doesn't really know ball, I was like, watch, this kid, he's good. He's gonna get at least 2 points, I said.
He's just energy, man.
And it sounds crazy that he's gonna get at least 2 points, but I mean he's a little short point guard that's running the floor. But he hit that 3 at the top of the key, like instantly. He's like, how'd you know he was gonna do that? I was like, yo, he's one of those players. He's one of those feisty people that you can't stand him unless he's on your team.
So I think that's spot on. He is one of those feisty players that you just hate unless he's on your team. And so superstar matchup, you said it's kind of a push. Sporting cast, you trying to call it a push, or you gonna be decisive here?
Damn, bro. Don't do that. Don't do that. All right.
I think it's gonna be OKC. How about that? Maybe that helps you out.
I like Caruso too. I like Caruso.
I like Caruso. I like
Siakam more than J-Dub though.
I think. Oh, yeah, you think so?
Yeah, I do.
I think J-Dub's really been finding it, especially last series. So the Spicy P.
See, that's the thing, right? When you say shit like that, after what I say, it makes it sound like I'm downplaying J-Dub. I'm not.
No, you're not. You're not downplaying J-Dub.
I just think Siakam
champion.
He plays both sides of the floor, bro. He's a mismatch. You know what? You know who had a great take on Siakam? Was Draymond Green. Did you see his take?
No, what'd he say?
He said there's only 2 times he's felt like he's gotten beaten.
He's lost his matchup.
Yeah.
I just see that.
It was
Siakam, and it was this Western Conference, right, against Julius.
Yes. And Siakam, man, he's the captain.
No, he's nice.
He's the MVP now.
He's nice. No, he's nice, bro. So are you calling a push? Are you calling a push here?
I'm calling out a push. Damn, this might go 7.
Coaching battle: Carlisle versus Daigneault. Who you like?
Carlisle.
Wow,
I love Carlisle, man.
I think Carlisle is a great coach.
For him to lead that Mavs team to that championship was unbelievable.
Listen, if Indiana wins this finals, it would be the most improbable title run since that Mavs team.
That's a great take.
Now people will say the Toronto team, but
that injury,
they were hurt.
Injuries,
yeah, they were hurt. So that's why I'm not counting that Toronto team. Yeah. You got to go all the way back to Dallas. All the way back to Dallas.
That's a great take. Yeah, I agree with you. So I give the coaching. Wow, Indy might win this.
Yeah, this guy likes Indiana now. So I need your take here. Who's your finals MVP, and who do you think is the biggest X factor in this series? Let's start with finals MVP. Who's your favorite?
Because now I got Indiana winning based off of the stats.
Now, do you have Indiana winning?
Yeah, I'm taking
Okay.
Indiana.
And
It had to go with 7.
7.
I'm taking a leap of faith. I like rooting for the underdogs.
You
I
are
don't know
taking
if
a leap
people.
of faith.
I've always rooted for underdogs, bro.
Okay, because this is the part I'm gonna clip. Just so I'm clipping this piece right here. Ready?
Yeah.
So Quan, who do you have in the NBA Finals and how many games?
I'm rooting for the underdogs. I got the Indiana Pacers defeating OKC in 7 games.
Finals MVP is who?
What the hell? What the hell?
What the hell?
Yeah.
And who do you think the dark horse / X factor of this series is going to be? Who's going to assist Haliburton and bring in Indiana its first title?
Neiman Marcus.
Neiman Marcus, Aaron Nesmith.
Yeah.
Steph
I call
Curry.
him Neiman Marcus. I got yeah. And I say that because I wanted to say this when I said when you brought up like who showed up, like who showed out for the Eastern Conference Finals, and I think it was him. And I'm not talking about the 3-pointers. Defensively. Oh my God, is he good? I remember he hurt his knee.
Yeah, he played though.
He did.
I like OKC in 6. I got OKC in 6. I think SGA outplays Tyrese Haliburton. I think OKC gets more for the supporting cast. I think
my guy Macaulay Culkin's gonna set up traps all over the place, bro.
I think J-Dub has another incredible series. Caruso is active all over the place. Chet's progression continues. They have a true big 3 where Indiana doesn't.
I think Topin's gonna fucking slam his nuts on Chet all over the game. Yo, Topin is a beast, bro.
It's Toppin. Pause.
Toppin. I call him Topin because I don't want to call him Toppin.
It's Toppin. That's respectable. In fact, you look better than I do for saying Toppin. Finals MVP, obviously SGA. Dark horse for X Factor, I think is going to be Cason Wallace's 3 ball, but then also his defense. Because I guarantee they're going to use him a lot on Haliburton.
They don't need.
No, but I
do like.
You disrupt Haliburton, you disrupt the offense.
I agree.
So that's the big thing. Make him uncomfortable. And then here's the thing: if somebody else beats you, even if it's Spicy P, if he beats you, he beats you. But you can't let Haliburton get into a flow because him getting into a flow, like you called out, means everybody's getting into a flow because that's how he plays the game.
Yeah, I do. I like how he was more decisive too. He had a few dunks last night.
I agree with that.
He faked the pass, dunk, laid up. Like he has to be more aggressive in that sense because a lot of time, even on there was a play he got on the fast break and I forgot who was following him. I think it might have been Siakam that was following, and I thought he was gonna lob it to him, but he ended up just dunking it, which was even better because I didn't realize Mitch Robinson was trailing.
Yep,
Siakam. But you got to be more decisive in those things and be more aggressive. I think that's another thing that hurt the Knicks was realistically Brunson kind of did have to take over because
everybody
other than Bridges, they're not looking to shoot first, especially Hart, man. My boy that doesn't know much about basketball, he had Hart for 8 points or 7.5 points.
That's a bad beat.
Luck. I said good luck. I was like, not only that, but he doesn't shoot. And then when he does, he doesn't have confidence.
He doesn't.
It was the second quarter, he had 0 points. And then he made a layup and then the and one, and then he got free throws. But he didn't even hit the 8, I don't think.
You know what's crazy is because Brunson and Hart have a podcast, and they talked about it. He was like, Brunson said, like, you worked too much on that shot this summer to not take it. And they're calling out on the broadcast, but just watching the Knicks throughout the season, he's able to get pretty good penetration because it always seems like he gets caught in the air in the paint. Pause, bro. We're talking about this is ethical talk, bro. I'm not talking crazy.
I'm just saying. I didn't even say anything. I just said,
but it's the caught in the air looking to pass, and then when you play a team that's active like Indiana. Which I think this is where OKC's going to give some problems because they're so active defensively, is those lanes to pass when you get caught like that are not going to be readily available. You're going to have people swarming.
Yeah, so you get caught in the air and you throw the ball. That was a lot of turnovers from yesterday. And you said it best a couple pods ago where, that cross-court shit is not going to happen like that with this team. Nope. They're too sound defensively. But the reason why I do like the Pacers, going off the chart system of the questions you asked me, and if they can move the ball and just continue to get the easy layups and shit, it's gonna help them in the long run.
It's just got to be tempo. If
Yeah,
Indiana
yeah.
has any chance, number one, they can't have a dud game from Haliburton.
I believe in Rick Carlisle making that happen. Like you said, they've been playing this basketball since day
January.
one, and it's continuing. So,
oh yeah, for sure. But at this level since January, I would say this: you can't have the dud game from Haliburton. He's had one dud game every single series this playoffs. You can't afford to have one because I don't think they've taken a 2-0 lead in every series. I don't think you're taking a 2-0 lead. I don't think you're winning 2 games in Oklahoma.
Indiana, right? Yeah.
Right. They were up 2-0. They were the home team against Milwaukee, but then against Cleveland and New York, they won the first 2 on the road. I don't foresee that happening. You'd be lucky to split in Oklahoma City, right? You can't have a dud game from Haliburton. You're not going to be able to have a game where you could, quote unquote, take off, right? And OKC can't afford to do that either. But that's going to be 1. 2 is going to be pace. I mean, pun intended, no pun intended, whatever you want to take it. They got to play their pace. You can't allow Oklahoma City to get you in a half-court game, because like how the Knicks did, it doesn't look good for Indiana when they can't play with pace. But to your point, I think Carlisle is going to be able to do a good job of that, calling timeouts. I think that was frustrating about Tibbs getting out-coached too. Like there would be times where it's like, bro, I'm on the couch watching, calling timeout. Call timeout. If it's either A, to give you guys a break, or B, kill some momentum. Kill some momentum they have. Why you can't go home with them? So just to recap, you got the Pacers in 7. That would be wild. I would hate to see that. I got OKC in 6.
I'm going to Indiana. And I'm going to put Brunson. I'm going to take the street sign of Brunson off, bring that shit to Indiana, and make a whole video of it. That's what I'm going to do.
Either way, we're going to have a first-time NBA champion coming out of this series. A first-time franchise gets the champion, a new era of basketball. I'm excited. I want your thought on one other thing. And I might cut this out.
Who do you want to win? Not.
Who do I want to win?
Yeah.
I want Oklahoma City to win. Yo, fuck Indiana.
Yo, I remember the time where it's like, yo, you're from the East Coast. You got to represent the East Coast. We're from the East, and they're representing the West. I don't want to start a whole Indiana East Coast, West Coast beef again, but I just remember the times. Be proud.
Well, they're both middle America.
Okay.
So we're good. We don't have to worry about that. This has been a hot button topic. Who should be the face of the NBA? Do you think it's the winner of these NBA finals?
No. I think the NBA and the media pushes that agenda. I think there's so many people that could be the face of the NBA. I think the face of as a fan, right? Like as someone grown up loving the game, like I wasn't a fan of Jordan. I hated Jordan because he fucking killed us every time we played him. You just had to respect him to the point where like, yo, he's the fucking greatest of all time. It is what it is. I remember feeling that, watching him play. Like, I hate that we're playing him because he's gonna do what he does. And I say that to say this. So it wasn't just Jordan, right? Like Penny Hardaway, Shaq. Would you say they were faces? Penny wasn't a face of the NBA, but to me he was as a fan. So that's why if you just put one person, that I feel like that came from Bird and Magic, right? Because they were the faces that kind of revitalized the league. Yep. And then you had Jordan, who just naturally became the face. And then LeBron self-proclaimed himself the face. Steph went out and earned it.
Self-proclaimed.
Nah, I'll just fuck with you. I don't like that. I don't think you could just have one face. And I don't care if it's, to be honest, I don't care where someone's born. Because I know that's a hot topic. You know, I
don't care about international or not.
Yeah. But like I said a couple of pods ago, I think SGA is a great person to be the face. The way he carries himself, the way he signs autographs for the fans and takes the time to do that. I think he's perfect for being the face of the league. Why? If SGA is the face, why can't Luka be at the same time?
I don't know. Because Luka got traded for Anthony Davis.
That's crazy. That's to get the number one pick.
Golly. I think this is what I thought. Was if there's so many names that could be thrown out for the face of the league, then there is no face of the league. To me, it should just be, if you're going to have a face of the league, it should just be so obviously apparent. that this
I don't think there
person
should be a face in the league.
or a group of rivals like Magic Bird, right? Or LeBron Steph.
The rivals and shit I love, because
if you're gonna do that, then I get. But if there's no clear cut, like these two guys have been going at it like how Bird and Magic did, or LeBron and Steph had that run, or there's not Michael Jordan, who's just this transcendent athlete who really globalized the game of basketball to levels that were just ridiculous, even before the age of social media, which is ridiculous, right? All over Europe, and it's going crazy. If you don't have something like that, then maybe there just is no face, and that's not even a problem.
It's not. To me, it's not. I don't think why. Why limit? At that point, you're almost limiting the teams that doesn't have the face as far as marketing and just driving fans to that destination, right? So I love the rivalry thing you brought up, because that's what drives sports, right? Like,
yeah, for
when
sure.
you're playing that other team that you can't stand, and that's just what it is, right? Like Celtics and Lakers type shit. So Red Sox, Yankees.
I think that's why we've enjoyed, or I enjoyed the Knicks Pacers shit. That's why I enjoyed it. Kind of refueling an old rivalry.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the fact that Haliburton was posting on social media those videos, like after he hit the big shot, and then of course, like you mentioned earlier, him going back with Ben Stiller, shooting back at Ben Stiller, pulling up to the arena dressed in black.
Yeah.
That's the shit where, even though like Brunson and Haliburton, Brunson and Haliburton were cool off the court. They played Team USA basketball together. Shit, we competing. Shit ain't sweet, bro. Like I think that's what we've been missing. Like, we had a bunch of content planned on the way. Next basketball episode's obviously going to be after game 1 of the finals on Thursday. It's going to be a couple days without basketball. But, man, we got a finals. Quan making the surprising pick. Indiana.
Yeah, breaking it down, man.
You might be the first person. You might be the only person, and I don't know if Indiana got the edge. But
there's a bunch
of other categories we could have went through, but you're like, oh, these numbers shit. So I don't fucking hate
you
them.
were like, the assistant coach, the towel guys.
Not even, bro.
Always on point with the Gatorade.
I would have got into like wins above replacement and shit like that. I love stats like that. Anyways, we ain't gonna bore nobody with that. I like digging into it. But as always, appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you made it this far, please remember to like, subscribe, comment, give us your take. Who do you got winning the finals and how many games? And let us know why. Quan got Indiana. I got Oklahoma City. Can't wait to see how it plays out. But as always, think critically, speak infamously. Love.